me back to Sue. Okie dokie. I didn't spotlight. Let's spotlight. Dun. Okay, I've lost. No, there we go. Okie dokie. Great. So, okay. Hopefully, try to stand on this mat book, but okay, great. Great. Onegaishimasu.
Onegaishimasu.
We'll just start to loosen off a little bit. Just work with vertical and just mix in working with one leg and working with both. Just to loosen out the arms a little bit. Bring them back both into the center. Slight rotation to the hip. Let the shoulders just follow. Out with the arms again. Just think like thick, heavy ropes. Just play a little bit with the hips as well, so slightly separating movements. Open them a little bit. Back to the center. Just a little bit front and back. Just let the arms follow. And then side to side. This one just separating the legs. And back into the center. Just let the heels start to really hit the floor. Let the weight settle a little bit more. Release the ankles, release the knees, release the hips. Let the shoulders just sit on top of the hips. Just allow the feet to find the ground. Let that pulse raise and sink. And just take it to the fingertips, extending them out. Linking the pulse in the heel, strike down with the extension out the fingertips. Just really settle it down. Great, just go for the wrists a little bit. Loosen them out, roll in one over the other. And change direction. At the elbows. A little bit faster each time. Slow it down a little bit. Roll them out. A little bit of tensioning through them. And reverse it. Slow. Build it up. Slowing it down. Roll through them. A little bit of tension through the fist, through the forearm. Wind and coil through the arm. Great. Placing the hands by the side. Roll out the shoulders a little bit. Think about going up, back, down, and to the front. Stay in the same directions. Bring the hands to the top of the shoulder. Big circles with the elbows. Try and touch them towards the front. Open them out towards the back. Open the shoulder blades out. And then opening the hands out. Nice big circles back. The ears, let the biceps just brush the ears back. Keep the spine neutral. Long. Good. Just going to rotate the other way. Bring the chest into it, a little bit of hip hinging, a little bit of a dive down, letting the upper spine, then gently. Great, and just letting the arms come across. Release out, gently slapping the shoulders. Great, just take it to the head, just gently look over the shoulder. Loop the hips and shoulders forwards. Just check how far you can look around comfortably. Find that point. Start to release the chest and the elbows. Keep the hips nice and forward. So if you can just take that point a little bit further, look a little bit. Guide it with the elbow. Let the nice follow. At the chest. Do it. And then you start to open the hands out, let the hips reach front and back. Reach. Look a little bit further over. Use the arm as the guide for the head. Open at the chest. Let the knees release as much as you can. Towards the toes. Great. And then the same, just loosen up the arm again. Let the arm really go under, down, raise up. Really focus on the connection with that same side hip. Release in the arm. And just check whether the arm's being held and basically moved, or whether it's just allowed to release. So whether the shoulder's released or not, whether the hips motivated the movement, those are the two things. Once you've got that arm, once you've got that arm, just let the back arm become a little bit of a focal point as well. So it's either going to go towards the lower spine or towards the back hip. Just let it coil around the back a little bit. And just check that shoulder as well. So the shoulder that you're striking, how that one's a release also. Doing it, just check the knees are releasing towards the toes again and not rotating inside, especially the outside leg that you're rotating away from. Now that knee to really fall towards the feet. Just a couple more. And the last few, just hold that position at the into the rotation. Yep, hold it, gently tension the body, and then think about releasing it, coming up to the top, and then back into that position. Feel you've kind of released yourself into a spiral, or you've turned yourself into a spiral, and then just release it out, bring it back down, release it out, bring it back down, and just without. The key with this is don't start with the hand. So feel that you're releasing the body from the ground. Let it go to the hip and let the hand release it out. Focus on the rotation being released from the body as you do it. Let's give it a try. More, so a little bit of tension as you do it. Great. That's it. Nice. Great, perfect. Good. It would just loosen up the legs a little bit with the hips. Really feel you can isolate the hips. So you can obviously do both hips kind of moving together, and they do move together. But feel in this case that you're kind of passing the movement from hip to hip. Passing the movement from hip to hip. From hip to hip. Might also help if you do this. Let the hands go to the back of the hips. But just nice to roll through with it. Through with it. That's it, great. And then we'll take it to the knees. Just rolling the knees out, loosen them out. That's it. Just check the feet, the contact. Try and keep the feet in contact with the ground. And release the ankle. It feels really comfortable. Also, just play with dropping the hips a little bit more into it as well. So you've got a slight. You come up straight with the leg, the hips are raised, and then you can drop it into it. Just be careful with the knees. Any pain at all, don't. Stretch them back a little bit. Take it the other way. Come to a slide the hips to hinge a little bit as you do it. Check the quality of the contact with the ground. Good, stretch them back a little bit. We'll just play with just taking them just to the front diagonal, so be careful with this, especially if you've got knee problems. Just go to the front diagonal. Come back. Go to the other one. Just gently away from the foot, so stress from the knee, but go to the other side again. Back to the other side. Great, stretch them back. Bring the hands towards the toes if you can. You need to really bend the knees as much as you need to. And then just release towards the ground, hips down. Keep the hands at the feet. Roll the hips back up. and down. Just go between these two positions, stretching the hips back. Down. Just hold it down here. Just releasing the hips a little bit, using the arms, just gently pressure out on the hips. Think about opening the hip out to the side. You can also think about pulling the knee down to the ground. Just play with a little bit of pressure. Great. Pull the legs up. Shake them out a little bit. Just take it into a long lunge. Squeeze the back heel down to the ground. Both feet facing forwards. Again. Change of leg. To the side again. Just bring the arm into it. So just focus on reaching the arm out, looking towards the back heel. So raising the back heel off the ground. Long lunge. Reach the arm up. Reaching the arm up over. Like bone of the body. Don't worry about the back arm for now. Just let it kind of rest it. Back change to the side. Reach the hand up. The back heel. Back, and then bringing the back hand into it. It's going to reach towards the ground. So go into that spiral, and then let the back hand also reach down. Hinge the body a little bit forwards. Again, looking towards the heel. Open that spiral up. A little bit of tensioning up through the hands. One up, one down. Squeeze up, coil into the ground, squeeze up into the legs. So release it. Side. Find the lunge. Reach up, reach down. Look towards the back of the hands. So we'll just work on a little bit of rotation work with the feet. So just start with the feeling, just that you can isolate the hip individually. So one foot's going to be down the ground, and the other foot, just feel that you can rotate it. Now the obvious way to rotate the foot is through the ball of the foot rather than the heel, but play with it a little bit as you do it. But just figure out, just play with the idea that you can isolate the hip, so that hip doesn't need to do anything. You can just sink the weight into it and just let that foot kind of roll out. Just play with a few each side, just releasing, mobilizing the hip. Do it. Open up the hip work. A little bit. That's it. That's it. Good. So generally for rotation work, yeah, ball of the foot, and just play with this, the feeling that you can raise the foot out of the ground. You're going to play with sinking the weight into one leg now. So play with the foot that doesn't do anything, just do something. It receives the weight of the body. And then the other foot, play with really rolling through it. It's really like we do in the 𝘱𝘰𝘪𝘏𝑕. So that sense that you shift the weight back and you just draw the foot up and then you place it back down. And just be really conscious of the sinking and settling of the foot. So raising it out of the ground and the settling of the foot. And play with basically keeping the weight. In this case, just play with keeping the weight all in that leg. So there's hardly any weight going into the foot. And the foot that's going to basically rotate. And the hip's going to mobilize. So the less weight in it, the more mobility I've got basically with the leg. So if you think about when we do these exercises with the leg this way, if I've got no weight in the leg, I can really mobilize the joint system. The problem in rotation work is as I transfer weight, the joint system tends to lock up. So it's about basically as I rotate, being able to maintain flexibility for the joint system. So just play with it, work with both sides. It's a little bit like you're going to kind of step onto ice or something. I'm going to be kind of carefully, I'm going to kind of place the foot, and I'm not quite shifting the weight yet into it. That's it. That's it. Great. Good. Yeah. And it's really hard to go to, but just think of all postural work. Focus on the head also and what the head's doing. So if it's really easy to do, but if I'm doing it and I look down towards the foot, everything starts to close down. And it's not that the head should never look at the feet, but in this case, just allow the spine and the head to be free. So let the best thing for this is let the eyes settle on the horizon, basically. Let the eyes settle on the horizon. And this is easy for me because I've got a big horizon looking out on the roof. So let the eyes kind of sweep across the horizon as you rotate. Sweep across the horizon. So the eyes, the head are going to just like sweep across. So everything's basically rotating it. So focus. Take the focus now away, not away from the leg, but include the other side of the body. So the arm, the side of the head, that whole side that's rotating also rotates. So no part becomes the kind of focus. It's not that you start the rotation in the foot, you start the rotation in the head or the eyes or anywhere. Everything rotates in one movement. The other good thing for this is just imagine someone in the room really calls your name and you do that. Everything will turn. You don't kind of turn separately. Check with the eyes and then check with the foot, and then maybe you just turn the whole body. So that's the feeling in this. That's it. Great. And basic stuff, but essentially everything follows from this. Yeah, nice. Good. So just take it to our first kind of Takemusu work that we do with beginners. So you're working in Hambi. You sink the weight into the back leg. It's compression work, and then you release that foot into the rotation, and then you let the body rotate and you find the hand in that side. So you're playing with the settling of the weight down, the rotating, opening the hip, and then the rolling of the body into it, and basically settling back into a neutral posture. So roll out the foot. So real basic, just rotating the body. Allow the hands just to kind of follow the movement. You can obviously work with 𝘱𝘢𝘢𝑵 shapes. Or you can just let the arms kind of dangle. The main thing is just that every part of the body's rotating into it. That's it. Good. Good. Great. Oh, bless you. Okay, great. We will just put a little bit of stress on it, so not much, but just using now the shape of the arm. So you're going to engage the hip through it. So this is what we've done is kind of neutral, just kind of moving, settling, moving, settling. Do the same thing now, basically on the spot, but allows you to engage the hip into that 𝘱𝘢𝘢𝑵, and then release back, and then roll, release, go into the 𝘱𝘢𝘢𝑵, and then release back. So you're going to be a little bit wider with the leg in this case. Coming back, and you're engaging the hip in, and then coming back. Rolling back, engage in the hip, and then allows us back to neutral. Roll and engage, neutral. Roll and engage, neutral. Roll and engage, That's it. Yeah, good. That's it. Good. That's it. Great. And just play with one exercise. So it's basically rotating, settling, and all that kind of thing. It's important to be able to move after it. So, oh, you got a nose. But I guess so. You're gonna roll into this, and then just walk out of it. Find the foot, roll into it, and then walk out of it. Roll into it and walk out of it. And the walk out of it should be kind of seamless in a sense. So you want to be in the ground. You've got that weighted 50-50, and then you should be able to just transfer straight into a walk. That's a good cleaning technique. Good. Good. Oh yeah. Good. That's it. Yeah. Okay, so in this case, focus on the we always talk about the center of the body. In this case, focus on the focus on the solar plexus. So which is this part of the body that will fund the nerve. If you're not sure where it is, it's basically that part, and it's where all your nerves are in that center of the chest here. So when you do this, just watch for this. If my solar plexus basically points down and then kind of pulls up, or it's just always down. This is if you see people apart from the head being down, it's also the solar plexus like pulled in this way. So their posture is like really drawn in this way. So when you do this, think about the solar plexus really being like out open and like boom. And then as you go into the walkout, that kind of leads the movement in a sense. In terms of the structure of the body, what goes first, apart from your initiated with the hip, let the solar plexus kind of roll and open. But that's kind of open and out. Open and out. That's really important for posture for us. That's basically rolled up rather than pressed down, compressed down. Just play with that a little bit. Let's see. So watch, it's like this. If I've got it's like Iron Man. If I've got the light here and I do this down, basically that goes towards the ground. And then as I walk out, it stays towards the ground. So it's just kind of constantly down. Feel that it's actually open and out. So the light's actually going out forward. If you imagine like a tunnel out with that light, it's always basically coming out forwards in a sense. So when you're doing all the rotation work, what I don't do is go in and out of these kind of positions. I want to basically roll the body so that this is open all the time, opening. So just play with a bigger rotation now as you do it. As you do that kind of roll through, but allow that part of the body really to be open to the front, basically. That's really where you're going with it. So allow that to guide you forward as you do it. So that's it. Oh, uh-oh. There we go. Uh-oh. Hello. Destroyed my delicate balancing. Damn. Thought I had it figured out. There we go. There we go. Okay, nice. Good. Okay, great. Grab a joke. We'll do this. And just really adding a bit of pressure to it. So, turn my lights out. Turn my lights out. Damn. You've turned my lights out. Okay. Okay. No, we'll deal with it. Let's see. I have to go this way. Damn. don't think she likes me. Okay, let's see. Okay, we'll just start with a little bit of ski work. So before we go into rotation work, but that doesn't really help at all, does it? Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna try and go over here. One sec. There's a little bit of light over here. So just work with a ski. Oh, there's light here, right? It's kind of annoying. Let's see if that works a bit better. Okie dokie, not really. Okay, that doesn't really work. Okay, just work with the basic ski, just coming in, but keep that feeling out that the jaw, the solar plexus, everything's kind of lining up, out, down the jaw. As you go into it, try and find a little bit of light source. Let's see. That's not ideal. Okay.
You were quite visible when you were back by that door, Michael.
Yeah. Let's see. Plan B. Toilet's not a good idea. Actually, that's not bad. I'm going to go here. Keep going. Keep going. Okie dokie. 2 secs. Try and reposition myself. Let's go. There we go. Okie dokie. Great. Okay, great. Okie dokie. So go take this into Zengo and working with the Kamae. So find the ski here, and then again the rotation work. Allow it really to come with the whole body grounding down. That leg now is really going to act as your pivot, or the anchor for the movement, and then you release that hip out, roll back into the Kamae. Nice big Kamae as you go into it. So really essentially the same as we were doing before, but much wider now posture, wider Kamae. Find it, roll into it. Find it, roll into it. Find the ground, roll into it. Okay, keep going. Let's see. There we go. Nice. Good, great. Good. Great. So again, just increasing the difficulty of it. Take it to Shiho, but we'll just isolate that third rotation. So play with it front and back, and this way, play with the basic that you've got now. The same idea that leg's going to be the anchor. This mobilizes like you did before, but this one now mobilizes that way. So with that weight down, that leg's able to kind of cut through, and then you find that rotation. And then you're into the ski, and then you roll the other way. So you're basically just working those 3/4. This way, anchor the ground, find the foot rotation, slide through, rotate, slide through, rotate, slide through, rotate. If you get a little bit dizzy with this, just mix it in with or basically do the Shiho ski. If you feel like you can, just kind of take it to that 3/4 rotation each time. Just take it a little bit slower, but really focus on again that grounding in the lead leg, mobilizing the back leg to find that rotation. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, okay, good. So, Serena, what's the main problem with rotation work? What's the problem? What is the problem? What's the problem?
Me or just generally?
Yeah, well, just get both. You in general.
Me.
What's the problem with rotation work? What is the?
It's just the weighting of the weight of going into the foot that is actually static.
Yeah, right.
And how my hips, that side of the hip, I mean, what is the relation between that and the rotation? I think that's where my and double weighted, like you talked about it yesterday. I mean, this double weighted thing, I don't quite know how that actually works in rotation. Right. Or maybe not.
Yeah. So in general, the main issue with rotation work that we come across, especially in Aikido, because we're doing functional stuff with the body, is losing weight through the rotation. So going light through a rotation. So look, I was talking a little bit. The Chinese arts, they talk about being double weighted, right? I don't want to be double weighted through a rotation, which basically you see all the time in Aikido schools where they're rotating through either the ball of the foot, both of them, or the heel, both of them at the same time. Now, if I do that, apart from it being a specific move that you can only really do on tatami, it actually shifts the weight in the body as I do it, and it shifts it up as I rotate. It's very difficult to do that. Although you can see some incredible people that always break the rules. They're able to kind of sink the weight through the ground. But as you do this, focus on, Serena says, the weight, shifting the weight more to one leg, allowing the other leg to be free. But the problem we've got is the body doesn't really like to receive weight in the joint system and be able to mobilize it. It wants to receive weight and stabilize it. So it needs to be a mix in this case, as I go in, of stability in that leg and mobilizing the joint system, which is why we need the joint system to be open. Otherwise, if I lock it, the leg becomes stable, but it becomes immobile. And then the weight automatically through rotation goes up through the body. So just play with this a little bit, but it's basically the stuff we're doing all the time, and it's allowing the joint system to be open, finding this balance between stability in the leg, the weight being able to transfer through it, and mobilizing it through as well, because I don't want to destroy the joint system to find a rotation. So play with it, but it's basically an extension of how you walk. So rotation's really no different from walking, in that sense that you're just shifting weight across from one leg to the other, but it's just more complex. but the issue is basically one of weight, how to transfer weight, especially in Aikido work, weapons, and especially with Taijutsu. Basically, how to transmit the weight into the ground. Yeah, great. Great. So we'll just work a little bit more complex with it. So rolling backwards is also part of rotation work as well. So we'll just play with the hasso, just working from Kenkama. So just play with that roll of the hip. You got the same kind of thing. You're going to receive the weight into the front leg, let the back hip roll and mobilize. The back toe goes out, the arms mobilize with that, and then you roll through the back foot into your hasso that way. So show this a bit better with the camera. So you want to roll open, let the weight sink down into that front leg, and then shift the weight into that front, into what becomes the front leg. So this kind of roll back through the hip work. Roll back through the hip work. Just take the hasso as you kind of feel comfortable with it. Because you can either split it up into a couple of movements, do it as one. That basic thing of being able to again transfer weight through and keep the joint system mobile and flexible as you're transferring weight. Good. But play with this a little bit, because it's also good to feel and know, like, if I don't think of this as a functional movement and I don't think of this as a block and it needs to kind of roll and transmit weight, and I just think of it as a kind of twirling movement with the body, it's actually very easy to do. So I can kind of jump, hop, skip backwards, and the weight is like everything raises up. So the movement itself will raise me out of the ground. But it's actually easy to do the movement. I mean, if you're just looking to twirl the stick around, it's actually very easy in a sense. But if I'm looking to actually transmit weight through it, through the jo, I need something else. I need something else where the body's actually much more stable and integrated. So it's also not a question just of movement, but it's a question of the functionality of it as well. So
Michael, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah, when you said at this point the weight goes through to the front foot.
Yeah.
Is that where when you're doing the block at the point of contact, is your weight actually in the front foot?
No. In the case of the block, I'm going to be in this
already foot. Okay.
I've already shifted, because if you think about a ski coming into the body, let's say it's going for the solar plexus, I need the solar plexus to be rolling back. That means the foot is also going back with it. So I can't do both. I can't roll. I can't have weight in the front foot and kind of try and roll. Well, you could, if you're very good, you could keep the weight in the front foot and roll the solar plexus back. But I'm really in a bad position then in terms of structure. So I could probably get away with doing it, but I'm really out of balance to do it. So this is what people do. I try and avoid the punch. Let's say a punch is coming to the body. I try and avoid it without moving the rest of the body. So this footwork is all over our system, basically. We do it all the time when we're receiving a punch to the body and we roll back this way. Yeah. And it's that same, as I roll the weight back, I need the weight to be sinking into the leg that's receiving the movement. So that roll through, and that allows me to transmit my weight, basically. So great. Okay, good. That would just do a really simple combination with it. Play with the ski just from the right leg. Play with the ski and then roll open out into the hasso. You can play with, in this case, with backwards movement. So you find the ski, roll the weight back into the hasso, or you can play with it if you feel that it's kind of a little bit complex, which it is quite complex movement actually. If you break this down, allow the back leg to also roll in and open the hip out. So we're going to be taking this into a rotation. So the key thing is whether the back leg is able to mobilize from this position. So you find that double weighted position in the case where I'm 50-50, and then can I shift weight and mobilize the back leg to the hasa? So you've got 1, 2 into the hasa. You just drop back, ski, and roll through it. This is basically where we are in the 13th kata. But play with that hasa step. You can do it backwards, you can do it together, you can do it forwards also. But the question is, it's just whether I can transfer the weight from the ski position. The weight's 50-50, and then transfer the weight into allow the hasa. Yeah. So there's just one thing you need to be careful with this, which is the knee and the foot in the ski. So it's a bit hard to show, but I wish I had white shoes. I need to take some white shoes. As you go into the ski here, my foot's basically pointing this way. Now, if I take the rotation really this way and I lock the foot up, then I really go against the knee joint to find the rotation, or even the step this way. So I start to kind of rotating into the knee. It's not a problem if I've got really resilient knees and I can basically roll through it. And let's say if I can do the movement perfectly, there'll be no risk of injury. So I can move the body in a way where I shift the weight down and I roll through it and it's fine. But if I make a mistake as I do that and I shift the weight too far over this way and I then go into the rotation, I twist against the knee and I give the knee a real problem with it. So do this, you can do two things. You can either do it slowly, slow enough where I feel that there's no pressure on the knee joint as I make the transfer, or you can feel free to just slightly adjust it as you go with it. That adjustment is going to be made naturally anyway, and it's going to come when we go into the rotation. So it's allowing the hip to open out through the rotation. It's one of those that isn't necessary if I'm just moving forward. If you think about when we do number 7 and we go into the ski work, with the bokken it's not necessary, but with the jo work, because I've got a slightly wider posture and the knees and the foot is basically in another orientation, I need to allow the hip to also be able to release. And yeah, it's what we're doing when we do the 13 kata, the sense where you're going to kind of open the hip out and then find the rotation. And I'm doing that to allow the joint system not to suffer in the movement. But again, I can't really show this, but I shouldn't really talk about it. But notice where if I do open the foot out, notice where you open the foot from. Now, some people will teach to kind of open it with the heel, like first, like open the heel out and then go with it, which is good. Also, if I don't want to also I do it with the toes are kind of pulling out. What I probably just think about the whole foot basically opening out. So the feeling is not that I'm doing it with the heel or the toe. It's that I'm opening the hip out to do it. So the hip's going to open out, and the foot's going to change position. So think about it. If you do that opening, actually we'll all go to it now. So find the ski. We're going to open out into a big rotation. So you're going to end up facing behind you with the hasa. So you roll open and then roll through into the rotation, and you're up into the hasa. Just drop back down into the ski. So you've got the ski. You really need to open the hip out now, because if you don't, you're gonna twist right into the front knee. So you've got the ski on the right side. You open out the hip, and then you let the weight come through, and you find the hasa. It's a really challenging rotation. Ski goes to the front, and then the hasa you end up facing behind. It's a real big rotation, and I need to be really careful with the knees in this case, because it's very easy to twist them. That's it. Yeah, so good. Yeah, great. Very nice. Very good. Okay, Serena, what's the problem in this one? What's the problem in this movement? Again, it relates to weight, but
my knee keeps going over the toes.
yeah. Watch, it's a tricky one because it's a big rotation, but when you do this one, the problem is this. Normally when if you do a small rotation work, I can allow one foot to settle, receive the weight, and I can release their hip. And there's a kind of step-by-step way where I'm kind of anchoring, and then I release, and then I anchor the ball. When you do this rotation, the both feet need to be mobile as well. So it's no good if I go into this and I anchor this back leg, because if I anchor that back leg, it's stuck, and then I can't find a rotation. So the feet in this, especially the ball of the foot, needs to have a connection with the ground, which is quite supple in a sense. So as you go into the rotation with this one, both feet are rolling through. Now the risk of that is that I go into double weighting, because I'm allowing both feet to be able to mobilize. So that's the risk as I do this. So this needs to be one, it needs to be quite a fast movement. So I don't want to spend really any time in that double weight position, but I need both feet to be soft and supple. So just play with it, but notice that as you go into this rotation, because it's so big, both legs need to be mobilized to create the rotation. Otherwise I get stuck totally. Or I just do it as a kind of step-by-step move, which it needs to be one motion. But that's the kind of tricky part of this one. And the hips really need to be mobile. I can't get away with the hips being stuck at all. Okay, cool. Oh. Okay, great. Okay, we'll just finish a couple of minutes with just a short set. It's from the 13, but we'll just cut it out and basically repeat it. So it's a nice one that involves rotating work. So starts from the right side. You've got the ski, you hasso, you go into the strike on the right foot, so it's a yokomen. The grip like this opens out, and then you're going to rotate the other way, this way into a block onto the side of the body, and then you just repeat it. So you go ski, hasso, strike yokomen, and then block onto the left side of the body, and then you repeat 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, that, just like that. Give it a try. Oh, it's starting to rain again. Great. Very good. Okay. Get that big rotation, then I get kind of tenkan for the block, the second block. Okay, great. Very nice. Very nice, nice. Good. Just take 30 seconds, just kind of, if you've got any stress on the knee, just play with the joke this way. Just go back to basically where we started, just kind of releasing, settling the weight. Walk a little bit forwards, backwards with it. Just feel that you can just shift the weight nice and easy. So a little bit of freedom with the joke. If you want, you can take it to a kind of figure of 8. Just working with the knee comfortably, settling the weight down. Just taking the feet straight on, shoulder width, and just gently, just feel the weight, even as you do this, gently, there's a little bit of weight, goes to one side, releases, goes to the other. So in a way, like 50-50 is an ideal, right? We're never really in 50-50, and especially when you go to movement practices, you're always going to be shifting in and out of that kind of stable base for us. So slow it down a little bit. Take the jaw here and just release out. Release the shoulders. Let the hips strike the ground a little bit. Checking the knees are fine. Ankles are okay. Hips are fine. And just make it smaller a little bit. There we go. Okie dokie. Great. We'll bow out there. So, great. Domo arigato gozaimashita.
Domo arigatou gozaimashita.
Oh,
And
very good. There we go.
Thank you, Michael. That's a really interesting class.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See everyone tomorrow. Have a good day.
See you all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.